So around November of last year, I got in contact with Gian Weiss. And he said, "Hey Steamboy, you want some free stuff to make videos about?" And I was like, sure. And that's kind of where I put my disclaimer. I did get a lot of this stuff for free, but it has no effect on my opinion. In fact, that was an important point when I went to discussions with Glow LED, that whatever I end up getting, if I make videos about it, they'll be my opinion. They won't be influenced by outside sources. And I just want to tell people who the product is for. My reviews are not really on a graded scale in terms of 0 to 10 objective quality, because I think that even if something is not for me, it doesn't mean it's not for someone else. I will say if I do like the product and I use it myself, but sometimes that's not really the point. Sometimes it's something that I would never use, but I can clearly see other people using it. And that's really where the videos come in. In fact, you would have to do a pretty terrible job with the build quality or the execution of the product for me to really recommend that you stay away from them. So yeah, over the next couple of months, I'm going to be going over some of the products I've gotten from Glow LED after that conversation with Gian. These videos hopefully will be a little bit on the shorter side. Now I do plan to do a longer video about Glow LED themselves, kind of just as a storefront. I think they do a lot of interesting things from a design and business perspective, and I think it is worth talking about in a single video. Now with that said, I would like to take this time to thank both Gian and Kurt LaVacque, the owner of Glow LED. More than the free stuff, you guys were there right when I was thinking about getting back into making videos for gloving. And because of you guys, I have so much more potential content and things that I'm really excited for in terms of said content. So for that, I really can't thank you enough. Okay, first thing to start, the shape of the casing is great. I was originally taken aback by the inability to put diffusers on the casings, and that's when I learned that if I wanted to, I could have asked for the coffin glow casings, like a normal person. I'm glad I didn't, however, because as opposed to the casings, I really like the skins style. For one, the point at the tip of the casing creates a nice sharp look, and altogether, I feel like I'm wielding these little blades on the tips of my fingers. Now, the coffin skins look big, but the actual profile is deceptively compact. I was originally using these on my Rabbit modded Cat 5s, and those take 1616 batteries, which is my personal favorite battery format because they have a much slimmer profile and it complements this casing very well. And it makes your trails look really big and really sharp, but it also, for the size, never feels too restrictive. It's kind of a weird difference between a lot of the nano-sized chips, where even though they technically are smaller, they have a taller profile, so sometimes your dexterity is impeded in different ways. Whereas here, I was surprised by how much dexterity I could get. Now, I will say that my hands are somewhere between medium to large sized. Some of you with shorter fingers or smaller hands might get a different mileage out of these, and in that case, I definitely think you should look at Glow LED's other options. But for me, they're perfect. The material is soft, but not too soft. It can be firm, but not too firm. Like the old Micromax casings, you would kind of feel like the scrape on your cuticles, but you don't really get that here. The best way I could say it is that it feels neutral. There's this perfect equilibrium. Actually, speaking of thickness, one thing that is going to be a little bit of a point of contention for some people is that there have been some complaints about the buttons, and some people find them somewhat hard to find and press. And I do agree there. This would be a problem for me if I was a constant mode changer or phaser, but I'm not. These days I generally keep my modes exactly where they are for the entirety of the show. Now, for someone like me, this is good because I've been known to be a bit dramatic with my shows, and every once in a while my hands will slap each other and the buttons will go off. Here, they kind of acts as a safety for your buttons. So for someone like me, it's a good thing. That being said, depending on what kind of glover you are, what your style is, your mileage might vary. Now, where this casing really shines, in my opinion, is the way that it diffuses light. Because of the diffusion and the size of the casings, the trails look really sharp and they're really gorgeous to look at. Now, I originally had these in my Cat 5s. And with the Ditto mod, it came out relatively well, but after making a trade, my Cat 5s were rehoused in a full set of claws. And my coffin skins were, for about 2 seconds, vacated when I decided to put them in my vortexes. And I think this is where I like my coffin skins best. The coffin skins really show off the neopixels of the vortexes very well. With the larger real estate, you can really see the animations a lot better. I wasn't a big fan of the smaller size of the original vortexes and the casings, but after I stuck them into the coffin skins, that's when I really fell in love with the vortexes and also with the coffin skins. So the one concern I do have is the fact that the chips don't always sit in super snug within the coffin skins. This isn't so much of a problem with traditional microlights. I found that once they're in the glove and you're doing your thing, it's pretty unnoticeable. And in fact, I personally haven't really noticed like an LED hotspot at the tips of your fingers, so it really doesn't matter. That being said, with the vortexes, it's a different case because you have the neopixels both at the tips of your fingers and the tops. And if you don't place them all 100% the same way, you can definitely tell that a couple of them are misaligned. They haven't been the biggest deal for me, but it is something to keep in mind. However, there's a good chance that with how Glow LED operates, that by the time that this video comes out, they'll either have already thought of the problem and are currently working on a solution, or they have already solved the problem and released a new product or an add-on that would make this problem go away. I'll talk about this more when I do my video about Glow LED as a company, but for right now, at the time of shooting this video, it is something to keep in mind. Now, one serious flaw I found with these, and this might be the biggest thing going against the coffin skins, is the fact that if you are using an older set of bulb and chip, they might be more faulty. Now, that's a serious problem because I think with the coffin skins, that's what people are going to use with these the most. A lot of you who are within that world will know that, especially with older bulbs and chips, they often will get faulty because there's some wear and tear with the socket that you put your LED prongs in. And sometimes the battery bar is like a little loose. I've generally avoided these issues by sticking those in old Micromax casings. The Micromax is very compact and they will pack in your batteries and your bulbs together. And it minimizes a lot of those issues that I generally have. With these, they're a looser fit. And this is good if you're trying to take your chips in and out. It makes it very easy to do so. But because of this design, a lot of you with older chips that tend to be a little bit more prone to turning off during the middle of the show will have a harder time using these. It's something to keep in mind. I will say that I primarily use them with my Cat 5s when I was using the Micromaxes, and they were brand new and they've only ever had one set of bulbs in there. And because they were so new, I had very little problems with them. But again, if you're someone with a collection of primarily older or legacy chips, you might have a little bit of trouble using them, especially if they're already prone or faulty to turning on and off at random. So for a full set of 10, the coffin skins come out to $20, and I think that this is 100% reasonable for what they're asking. It's an all-in-one design, so there's no worrying about buying extra diffusers. The build quality is really well done, which I was somewhat surprised about because they're 3D printed. And I only say this because in my personal experience, there are varying levels of quality when it comes to 3D printed stuff, but whatever they have going on over there at Glow LED, it's super solid. So I really love this casing, but is it for you? I would say that if you have smaller hands and fingers, you might want to consider Glow LED's other options like the coin skins. If you have medium and above and you want something with a bit more real estate than the average casing, but you still want a surprising amount of dexterity and flexibility, this is a really great option. And there you have it, my first YouTube content thing in a while. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. Peace out.